this is Jared from fakeshemp.net, and this is the July collection update. A little bit of stuff from the UK, from the US, and a whole heap from Australia. So let's get started. First up is Cameron Crowe's Vanilla Sky, which is one that had been delayed, numerous times over the past 2 years, and finally got a release, I think it was in July, maybe late June in the United States. Of course, Penelope Cruz and Tom Cruise in this one, Jason Lee, a heap of other talent, Cameron Diaz. Pretty cool little film, and the Blu-ray has an extended version of the film, which I watched. A little bit patchy toward the finale in terms of video quality, but I have to say I actually prefer the theatrical to the extended. Vanilla Sky. Now, I'm not sure if I showed these in the last update or not, but if I did, forgive me. Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers. I have watched all the special feature content on this release now, as well as the feature. And look, this is a classic. I'd even probably say that Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers has become my favourite in the series. Really solid effort and some great special feature content. Unfortunately, Pamela Springsteen didn't participate in any of the special features, which is a shame. But yeah, pretty cool. Likewise for Sleepaway Camp 3, a lot of fun. Probably my least favourite in the franchise, but still, as I said, a lot of fun and great special feature content on there as well, including both films have alternate or scenes that were not shot, but they've basically done sketches and have someone sort of reading the dialogue over the top. Pretty cool, interesting sort of features. Next up, We Bought a Zoo, another Cameron Crowe film. I actually saw this about a day after I saw Aloha theatrically, which I actually really enjoyed. And I hadn't seen We Bought a Zoo. I didn't even realise Cameron Crowe had directed We Bought a Zoo. It was one of those kind of films that I just avoided when it came out. I'm not entirely sure why. I watched it the day after Aloha and absolutely loved it. It's probably up there for me as maybe my fourth favourite Crowe film, after, of course, Say Anything, Almost Famous, and Jerry Maguire. This probably slots in there at number 4, I think. In terms of films he's directed, of course, films he's written, Fast Times at Ridgemont High is right up there. Next up is the Scream Factory release of I'm Madman, or as it was known here on video back in the day, I think it was called Hardcover. This is an upgrade from DVD to Blu-ray for me, as were the Sleepaway Camps, in fact, and Vanilla Sky. Cool film. I haven't seen it for a few years. I haven't watched the DVD for a few years, so I'm keen to check it out. Same director who directed the cult classic, The Gate. Next up, Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf, or Sturba, She-Wolf, Werewolf, Bitch, something, I don't know. Anyway, it's just titled Howling 2 here. Philippe Mora, his film, an Australian filmmaker, he went on to do Howling 3 after this, The Marsupials, and in fact this was my guilty pleasure film on the recent podcast. And yeah, it's definitely worth it. Checking it out. It's ridiculous. It's just incredibly dumb, but a lot of fun. Howling 2, and the special feature content's pretty good. There's an interview with Reb Brown, an interview with Sybil Danning. Unfortunately, Philippe Mora doesn't participate on any of the special features outside of the commentary, which I haven't listened to. But yeah, pretty cool release. Next up, the now deleted double feature of Student Bodies and Jekyll and Hyde. Never seen Jekyll and Hyde, but Student Bodies is a favourite. I remember seeing it on television in the late 80s and having it on tape for many years. Picked up the Paramount Blu-ray back in the day, and this is an upgrade from that to Blu-ray. And this is now deleted. I believe Student Bodies is just about to get released individually, but there's no way to get Jekyll and Hyde. They are, in fact, on 2 separate discs. Really cool. Keen to check out Student Bodies in HD. I don't think it's going to add a whole lot, but it should be a bit of fun. Then one for the Tim Burton collection, Sleepy Hollow, with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. It was one of those films I never picked up on DVD, strangely. I finally committed to getting the Blu-ray. Unfortunately, the Blu-ray release from the US only has a Dolby Digital soundtrack. It's not a HD soundtrack, which is a bit disappointing, and I believe the UK one does, but this one's got all special feature content, and I kind of thought, well, you know what, to be honest, it's probably one of those films I probably more than likely would watch in bed than in the living room, so I wasn't too phased. Okay, moving on to the UK releases, we've got Ken Wiedewont's King Frat, which is a film that has a massive cult following, the kind of cult following, though, that it's not like just the friend you can turn to and say, hey, have you ever seen King Frat? Because more than likely they haven't. But it seems to be a buzz on internet chat boards and things like that, film chat boards. I didn't love it. This is the first time I'd seen it, and it was bit hard to get hold of. I didn't love it. It wasn't terrible. It's touted as being better than Animal House, and God help me, it sure isn't. But it's a bit of fun, and look, you know, I'm trying to dig through those Ken Wiedehorn films I haven't seen, and this was one of them. So King Frat from the UK. Next one is that one that I picked up on DVD a number of months ago. I got rid of, Anthropologus the Beast, or the Grim Reaper as it's also known. This is the 88 films release, which is quite nice. It has this cool slipcase, then you have this art on the inside, and it actually comes with sort of like poster art cards for the film as well. The main reason for picking this up was because I really wanted to see Callum Waddell's documentary 42nd Street Memories. And now that I've seen the doco and I really enjoyed it, I'm questioning whether I'll hold on to this, because this film itself I really didn't enjoy. I just thought it was really a piece of shit, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know if I'll keep it, but the doco was solid. In fact, I think the doco might be turning up on the Grindhouse releasing of Pieces in the United States, so I probably will part with this in order to just pick it up on that, because Pieces is a fucking classic. Next up is Red Dwarf Series 1 to 8 collection. This is one of those sort of nostalgic purchases. I've toyed with buying it for a number of years. I really loved Red Dwarf when I was growing up. I got into it when it was broadcast on the ABC, probably when I was about 11 or so. And yeah, it's one that I've been wanting to revisit. And it was on Netflix UK, but then they pulled it earlier this year, so I never got to revisit it. So yeah, I picked this up for, I think it was really only about $32 or $33 through Zavvi. And it's really nice packaging too, because both of the volumes in here, in their own little digipacks. It is just the shows, so it doesn't have any special feature content like the Smeg-Ups or anything like that. And of course it's only 1 to 8, and I believe there's 10 seasons now. But I believe I only ever watched 1 through 7. I never saw the 8th season. So yeah, I have watched the first 2 episodes, and it's a lot of fun, a trip down memory lane, but the wife's not loving it, so it's one of those kind of shows I'll probably have to watch early on a Saturday morning before she wakes up. So needless to say, I don't think I'm going to get through it in any hurry. Okay, so moving on to the local releases. First up, we've got Kingsman: The Secret Service. This is the JB exclusive SKU of it, which has a slipcase, but also inside has a little collectible comic book as well. This is an amazing film. This is in my top 10 films of this year. It was just incredible. As far as, you know, blockbusters go, this had everything I wanted. It was funny, it was smart, action-packed. It was just thoroughly entertaining. Kingsman: The Secret Service gets 2 major thumbs up from me. Fantastic film. Next up is somewhat the critically underrated and seemingly audience-hated Human Centipede 3 final sequence, which I caught with the Fake Shemp guys, both Glenn and Sean, at the Melbourne screening. And we all dug it. We dug it. It was one of those kind of films that kind of I had to sit with and think about a bit more, and we did it as a focus film on the FakeShemp.net podcast. And yeah, look, it's sat well with me because I came back and I've watched it recently. I've been putting together a special feature for a forthcoming top secret Human Centipede release. I actually had to watch it again, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I think possibly even more the second time round. It's definitely not my favourite in the franchise. The first is my favourite, but yeah, it's getting a lot of hate when really it's probably far more clever than people are giving it credit for. But Human Centipede 3, pretty cool. Next up is finally a Blu-ray release locally of Groundhog Day. This one's currently exclusive to JB. What a classic movie. I mean, Harold Ramis, just a terrific film. Bill Murray, Andy McDowell, even Bill Murray's brothers pops up in it in a cameo. Chris Elliott, it's great. Nothing really spectacular about it. It has been taken from the existing US master, from what I understand, and maybe even UK master. This is a brand new 4K scan or mastered in 4K release from Japan. This is not that release, but it does have all the special feature content that was on the DVD. This is a DVD upgrade to Blu-ray for me, Groundhog Day. Next up is Inherent Vice, which is a film I'm a little bit on the fence about. Saw it during its theatrical run and wanted to love it, but just sort of came away a little bit puzzled. I definitely followed it. I just couldn't comprehend that I didn't love it. I liked it, but it's a strange film that I'm really looking forward to revisiting. And I might say the local release is great. They've used this art. It carries over all the special feature content that was on the US release, which includes, I think they're mainly featurettes, because PTN is generally not known for doing commentaries. And then on the inside, you've got this full art here, which is pretty sweet. Really looking forward to revisiting that one, but the wife's not in any hurry to revisit it with me, so it may be a Saturday morning affair once again. But Inherent Vice from P.T. Anderson, or Paul Thomas Anderson, as he's kind of known now, he just goes by his full name. But yeah, I was a bit like that with The Master. The first time didn't love it, second time around enjoyed it more. Still don't really hold it in as high regard as his earlier body of work, Punch Drunk Love, Magnolia and Boogie Nights. But yeah, anyway, I'm really keen to check out Inherent Vice again. Next up is Maggie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is a bit of a hard sell because, look, it's Arnie's in it, but it's not a typically Arnie movie. It's set against the backdrop of essentially like a zombie plague, for which Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter, Abigail Breslin's suffering. And it's more just a drama set against that backdrop. And it's an interesting film. It's beautifully shot. It's an interesting drama that probably won't get its dues because it's neither an Arnie film nor a zombie film, yet it features both. Just unfortunately, the local release doesn't port over any of the special featuring content from the US release, which is a major bummer, and I may actually upgrade down the track. But Maggie. Next up, Tim Burton's Big Eyes, which I wasn't huge on. I mean, it's probably one of the least Tim Burton films out there, and not that I'm expecting, Tim Burton in his films. I mean, Big Fish had those elements of the Tim Burton film, was a lot lighter than his other body of work, but I did enjoy it. I can recall now that Glenn from FakeShamp.net went on about Waltz, Christopher Waltz going way over the top with his character, almost going like fully retard. But yeah, no, I thought it was an interesting film, and it's really just for the Tim Burton collection more than anything else. Next up is somewhat critically underrated as well, Adam Sandler in The Cobbler. This is from the director who directed The Station Agent. I can't remember the other film they did. Tom McCarthy, I think the name of the filmmaker is. And it's an interesting film because it's really not an Adam Sandler film. I guess in the same way that Maggie isn't an Arnie film, this is more a drama than anything else, with elements of comedy and fantasy about it. It's a really entertaining film, and it's just a refreshing type of movie. You don't generally see these type of films around, and not with major cast, A-list cast. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. The Cobbler, unfortunately, no special features on the local release. I don't know if the international release has got any either, though, to be honest. Next up, Toy Story of Terror, which is, that's the main short, but then there's a few other shorts. I think the Hawaiian short's on there. Small Fry and Partysaurus Rex, I should say. Just a bunch of Toy Story shorts, which are great. And I mean, a Toy Story short is 1,000,000 times better than an entire DreamWorks movie or a Blue Sky Studio movie. Pixar's about the only animated movies I get into, and Toy Story is my favourite franchise of theirs. So these short films I don't need in the collection. I can't wait to rewatch them. Should be a lot of fun. Now, next up is a pretty cool one. It's the local DVD release of Basket Case from Bounty Films. Now, it's good that the film's back on DVD again. It's been out of print locally for quite some time. It was out through Umbrella back in the day. And I actually don't mind the artwork. It sort of harks back to the original Australian theatrical art and home ent art. But the really cool thing about this Basket Case release is this special feature here, namely a basket case study, which is shot, edited, produced and directed by myself. I shot it when I was on my honeymoon over in New York, caught up with Frank Henenlotter, and we did a interview. This runs at about 35 minutes and has a lot of information, not only on Basket Case, but on Basket Case 2 and 3. Pretty cool release. I urge you to check it out. I think it retails for under $10, so that's a bit of a steal. Pity it's not on Blu-ray, but look, hey, it's good to have it back in the local market on DVD. Next up is Basket Case 3, The Progeny, the third film, I think the most hated film of Frank Henenlotter's career. He hasn't denounced it, but he doesn't speak highly of it, and you can actually hear him talk about it on the Basket Case Study special feature that's not only on Basket Case, but is in fact on Basket Case 3, The Progeny. And outside of a trailer, that's the only special feature that's on this particular release. You may notice I didn't show Basket Case 2. Well, my special feature's not on there, and I actually do own all these films on a steelbook trilogy from the UK. So these are pretty much more just kind of collector pieces because I had some involvement in its production. But yes, moving on to a TV program, and it's Stephen Merchant, who is the other half of the UK office with Rick Gervais in terms of series creators and writers. I was apprehensive to watch this. I didn't watch it on broadcast, and I had hesitated to even watch it when it first came out on home ent. Picked it up relatively cheaply. And I end up really liking it. It's definitely not, the standard of Gervais's writing, but it has that awkward humour about it that's present in his and Merchant's work. And look, it was a lot of fun. It's got the entire TV series, which I think pretty much equates to maybe 6 to 8 episodes. But in addition to that, you have a feature-length film that was made that kind of ties up the loose ends in a very, I guess, in the way that Ricky Gervais's series do, like Derek, The Office, and Extras always have that kind of extra episode in Life's Too Short, where they kind of just tie everything up. And it's felt somewhat needless in this because it felt like the series was kind of complete by the end of the other one and only series. But, it works and it was funny. Doesn't retread too much material from the rest of the series. But yeah, Hello Ladies, worth a look if you do like Stephen Merchant, or you just like a bit of British comedy, even though it's an American comedy. Yeah, I don't know. Last one up is Ryan Gosling's Lost River, which was a film that I was pretty excited to see because the trailer looked fantastic. And it was a film that I came away having enjoyed. I didn't love it, but I did enjoy it. It's beautifully shot. It's got an incredible score. It's very eerie and atmospheric. Almost has a very Euro horror feel about it. It is a strange movie. I mean, it's not that there's too much going on in it. Maybe there's not enough going on in it, but it has some really rich characters, and just the overall beauty of the entire production really won me over. Unfortunately, locally, it's only been released on DVD, which is a travesty because this is a stellar-looking film and deserves the high-def treatment and deserves some special features. Unfortunately, there's none on there. I haven't looked to see whether the US release has got special feature content, but I'd be curious because, yeah, I did dig it, and I almost feel like it might be that kind of film that the second time round, I may even like it more. Okay, so that's it. That's the July collection update. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to tune into the FakeShemp.net podcast. Thank you.